Here we are again, Raider Nation, with a bunch of drama and a bunch of turmoil and a bunch of BS. We're used to it now, aren't we? I think we are. Or we're not. Why are we still on this roller coaster? It seems like every week, not only every year, but every week something is going on with the Raiders instead of just victories and continuity. Speaking of continuity, I took 2 shits every day for the past 3 days. That's continuity. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Mikey Raider coming to you with a Denver Donkey game preview from my perspective. I talk so much normally. The videos become like 45 minutes. I'm not feeling it today. I'm going to make it 41 minutes. I'm just kidding. I'm going to try to make this 15 minutes or less with a simple game preview. I'm not going to talk about Davante. I might do another video tomorrow dispelling some of the myths. Say that 3 times in a row. Myths about what's going on. Because even the mainstream media and the so-called very well-paid media reporters have no clue. They're like, where did this all come from? What happened? Why is it happening now? Is Davante to blame? Is the Raiders to blame? Why did Antonio Pierce like the post? God, I might make a video tomorrow on Raider football talk. I might go live and just talk about it for like an hour just to get my bullshit out. But for today's show, we're going to do a Denver Donkey preview, and we're going to talk about the storylines, some of the stuff that might happen. And I am a guru and a genius. Look back at my past 2 or 3 game previews, and I said everything that happened, and my prediction scores were pretty much on point. Sorry, guys. Something's going on with my back since I put on this shirt. I'm probably allergic to cotton. I don't know. So I got to scratch it. Got to scratch my back because I'm right all the fucking time. No. That being said, please hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member of this channel for some future and early exclusive content. It is coming. I got a newer computer, a gifted newer computer. So I'm working on that, little here, little there. You know, just like the Raiders are working on the trade. Little here, little there. And I want it to be over with. I also got donation portals below. You can buy super stickers. You can become a member to support me, buy me some tacos, help me to continue to want to do these videos to make a few bucks. I appreciate it. I understand if you don't have it in you to support financially because life is tough. Then please comment in the chat room. Go to the Raider Rants hotline. It's in the description. Leave your voicemails for future shows. And that's one way you can support as well. All right, the Raiders, look, this is a must-win. It's a must-win. The Denver Broncos kind of suck. But they got a defense that is literally, I had to pick up their defense. And this is how sad it is. I had to pick up their defense in fantasy football. In one big league that's $500 to play. Because that league is about money. I know I'm a Raider. How dare you pick a defense that's playing the Raiders? That's for like $5,000, y'all. That league. You're first place. And I'm 2-2. I had to pick up the Denver Broncos defense as their defense has been lighting it up. They have been. They've held wide receivers with Patrick Surtain to not a lot of fantasy points. I speak in terms of fantasy points, not stats, because I understand fantasy and stats like that. And they got a good defense. Okay? They also have not given up many points to the running back. And we have on defense on our side. We've given up over 15 fantasy points to every running back that faced us on defense in the first 4 games. Over 15 fantasy points. That's probably at least 70 yards and a touchdown. And a couple of catches and a few yards. You get it? So their defense outweighs our defense. Let's just get that said and done. They have a better defense at the moment. But we are climbing up the ranks. Patrick Graham called a fantastic game last week, and we're kind of on the come up. And some pride and poise started to come back, and they held their own at the end of last week's game. But we're still struggling with injuries and whatnot. So, the overall theme of this game, and I'm starting with the theme, is whatever defense creates the most turnovers, that team will win. Whoever wins the turnover battle, there will be some turnovers. I hope there's none, but whoever wins the turnover battle will win this game. Now, let's talk about the storylines going into this game and what we might expect to hear in the media before the game, and then we'll talk about the offenses, and then I'll give you guys my scores and my predictions, my MVP and whatnot. The storylines for this game, of course, is can the Raiders win without Davante? Will Davante play? Will Davante be traded before the game? I don't need to go into any of those details. But I do expect some more major news the morning of the game. For some damn reason, if you guys look back to history, there's always some sort of a negative Raider story on game day. There's always some sort of a reporter giving a negative story about the Raiders on game day, whether it be that morning or in the evening. So, I expect some news to come out on that. Davante, by the end of today, let's be honest, today's what, Thursday, depending on when you're watching this, Davante will be called out for this week's game. The sooner we can trade him, the better, because this hamstring injury hurts his value if he plays for the Raiders. All that aside. If you got Davante in fantasy football, hold on to him. If you're pissed off at him, try to trade him, get some value. Do what the Raiders are trying to do. Okay? The other storyline is Max Crosby. Will he show up to the game now that he was requested? Will he be on the sidelines? Of course not, because they are traveling to Denver. He is not going to do that travel. Real quickly, I'll talk about it maybe tomorrow on Raider Football Talk in the evening, but there's a rumor that Max Crosby and Davante Adams got into a fight, and in the game versus the Panthers, when Max went out there and played injured, and Davante was basically sitting on the bench like a biatch. Maybe Max Crosby got into his face, because remember, Max went into Gardner Minshew's face a week before with the Ravens. Maybe Max Crosby is the only leader and is holding people accountable, just like AP is trying to do now. There's a rumor that Max Crosby and Davante got into a fight, and maybe that's why Max Crosby didn't show up onto the field the next week, because there was some inside turmoil going on, and apparently Davante Adams, after the hamstring injury, requested a trade on Monday. Then Antonio Pierce liked the post on Monday evening or Monday afternoon after Davante's camp talked about possibly being traded. So Antonio Pierce did not like it first. He liked it after Antonio Pierce's people came to him in the offseason last year and on Monday or Sunday night or early Monday morning. That being said, that's the storylines with Max Crosby. The other storyline is Tyree Wilson has been playing better the past couple of weeks. Compared to what? Compared to what? I haven't heard his name in any broadcast. Maybe the real staff knows he's playing better. But compared to what? His sample size is bad and not good. So yes, now that he has time to play with the injuries to Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, etc., he's playing much better. But again, compared to what? We have to see way more than we're seeing and hearing. That's just media reporting trying to make him look as decent as possible while players are out. He needs to do better, and they need to figure out game. If he is doing better, put a game plan with him and Christian Wilkins, depending on where you put him. That being said, Jack Jones will come up and he'll play this whole game because he took his benching like a champ, like a pro. He didn't throw his helmet. He didn't sulk on the sidelines. He didn't wear T-shirts that called himself public villain. So that's a good thing, for example. Has Antonio Pierce lost this locker with these business decisions and stuff like that? No. He's holding players accountable, and he's learning on the job, but nobody is bigger than the Shield. And let's be honest, some players were starting to do that, and they were lying publicly about certain situations. So Antonio Pierce is actually bringing this locker together as best as possible, finding out who his guys are, and that's what this game is. So the final storyline for this game is, this is the real Raider game. Who are the real motherfucking Raiders that literally buy into everything and want to build a team from scratch? The problem is we're breaking down our teams every 2.5 years, so we can't get any consistency. But Antonio Pierce has brought the swag back when we were winning after Josh McDaniels. Now, he's taking control of the team. He stopped the off-the-field dances on Friday, the dance-offs, because that is not, the optics are not good. When you're not winning and you're struggling, you shouldn't be celebrating and smoking cigars. Antonio Pierce finally realized, dude, I'm the man. I got this thing. I can coach this team. I gotta point out all these ridiculous players and call them out. And if they're crybabies, if they got egos, if they're not buying in, if they're not playing hard every play, we don't need them on this fucking team because we are changing the Raiders. But the motto could be said that now Antonio Pierce is heading down the Josh McDaniels route, where too much harshness and control can ruin players. So let's hope Antonio Pierce can find the balance between the harshness and that lovable Raider coach with the swag that talks a good game, and then he also coaches a good game, but he can also be a leader and a mentor for the team as well. He's got to find that balance, and I hope he does. He hasn't yet. Maybe he is trying to do that, but that's something for us to watch as a Raider Nation. Because Davante stopped being a leader last year. And we need leaders on this team, especially if you're going to be making $30, $40 million a year. Let's get some value for you. Get the fuck on out. That being said, this will be a defensive battle. It will be a low-scoring game. Our offense, I don't want any more trick plays or sweep plays with Luke Getsy trying to open up the offense. Because we did it a bunch last weekend. It worked, help open the run game a little bit. But we got to establish the run game with the bullies in the middle before we can do these trick plays. Maybe that's why Davante wanted off the team. Because when they were practicing that week, they probably had Davante Adams on sweep routes. And he's like, fuck this. Fuck this. I got a hamstring. I want to be traded. They want me to go across the middle? They want me to run sweeps? Shit, you don't pay me enough. Shit, you didn't even put a Taco Bell in my house. I did that. You know what I'm saying? So, but Luke Getsy, man, his offense, it is what it is. It is what it was in Chicago. Regardless of our quarterback situation, he can get it done. They just got to make an offense for Gardner Minshew. He can spread the ball around when he feels comfortable. And clearly, the last couple of weeks, they're experimenting. They experimented to try to open up the run game, and they had some success. Now they got to open up the passing game. They got to have Trey Tucker going deep more. They got to have Jacoby. Jacoby's probably going to play the sidelines. Patrick Surtain might shadow him more than others. Patrick Surtain is normally shadows the outside wide receiver. But I think with the Raiders, we don't have no true threat. We really don't. I mean, Trey Tucker's a threat, but Patrick Surtain might move around. And if they just place Jacoby on the outside as a replacement for Davante, that's not a recipe for greatness because Jacoby is going across the middle and normally good in the slot. So Trey Tucker, he's got the speed. I hope they can not just make Jacoby Myers a one route outside wide receiver, and then they try to make Trey Tucker the long deep guy and the DJ Turner they go across the middle. We need to add Brock Bowers as a wide receiver more in this game. We need to get him going again. We need 12 personnel again, but they've kind of went away from 12 personnel because it wasn't helping the run game. They were just stacking the boxes and stopping our run game. That's why they opened up the field last week. But they need to figure out a way to use Brock Bowers more. But don't use him on any motherfucking sweeps. He is a weapon. Gardner Minshew needs to target him more. The Denver Broncos give up a decent amount on defense to tight ends. And this should be a decent Brock Bowers game if Luke Getsy can put his shit together. Hopefully he's in the box so he can see the field better. And, yeah. He needs to get his quarterback comfortable early and often with some pass plays. And don't be surprised if they start the first play of the game with a deep pass play, like on a fake run handoff, with Jordan Madison starting Alexander Madison starting as the running back, and they do a long bomb to like Trey Tucker or somebody like that. That would start the game against the Denver Broncos defense in a good way if we achieved it. But that being said, I've already made this video 17 minutes. I promise it wasn't going to be longer than 15. This is going to be who is the real Raider game. Are these Raiders going to buy into Antonio Pierce after all this controversy? Are they going to side with Davante and kind of give up on AP? We're going to find out because we have to travel to Denver. There's high altitude. The players, the breathing is going to be tough. It's going to be a hard game. Last week was a gut check game against Cleveland. This week is also a gut check game, but it's also who are the real Raider games. Who's going to let the noise stay away and who's going to ball out and play 150%. And who is going to be a real Raider moving forward. So Antonio Pierce is testing his team. We're going to find out a few players this week. Tyree Wilson needs to be one of them. Needs to be one of them. Needs to be one of them. And Trey Tucker, your upswing, hopefully it will continue this week. And Jacoby Myers, you're going to end up becoming that dude for those critical catches. You and Brock Bowers on third down. It's going to be you two. Hopefully you guys step up. Now, Alexander Madison will start the game. He will start the game. They're going to give you some carries. But Alexander Madison earned that right. That being said, let me give you my final score predictions. They got a sucky quarterback, Bo Nix. They're struggling. But you know what normally happens with Raiders whenever there's turmoil? A sucky quarterback, a rookie quarterback, all of a sudden has the biggest game of his career and his life against the Raiders. So I'm not going to try to speak that into existence, even though I already did. But if we handle our business, coach our team right, we blitz a little bit more than normal. We have a blitz rate of 38%. We do. We have a blitz rate of 38%. We need to bring that up to like 45 this week. So that would really freak out Bo Nix. He'll make some passes, but we'll make some plays. And whoever wins the turnover battle will win this game. This is the defensive matchup, but it's the turnover battle. This game will be decided by turnovers. My final score prediction is, and I'm being honest when I say this, the Raiders win in another close game, barn burner game, till the end. Maybe the final plays of the game, maybe even overtime. But the Raiders win 20 17. Same score as I predicted last week. I think it's going to be a similar game in all respects. And whoever wins the turnover battle will win. And the MVP for this game will be not only Gardner Minshew, but it's going to be Trey Tucker. His big plays that he is going to have will be the deciding factor in this week's game. Pick him up in fantasy football if you have a flex spot. I'm your host, Mikey Raider. Thanks for tuning in. I love you all. Every day is a beautiful day. So no matter if you're having a good day, a bad day, a tough day, or whatever you deal with, thank God for every day of life and every breath in your lungs. It's a beautiful day. It's beautiful to be alive, regardless of the drama. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed, stay Raider, and remember, Raiders above anything except family and God.